Hey everyone, welcome back to GL Spinners. Today I'm bringing you a review video of the Flyaway Toys Maelstrom. I've had this one for a little while now. It's gotten some pocket time and I figured it was time to give it a full review. It is a USA made spinner that's produced in the Pacific Northwest, and it is my most expensive spinner, coming in at $119. Today I'm going to talk about some of the build quality of it, the pros and cons, and if I think it's worth that higher price tag. So first off, we'll take a look at how it actually comes packaged. It comes in a nice tin that you can see. It has the Flyaway Toys logo on it, their name, the model, and then they also actually add the serial number, which is a different touch compared to a lot of other spinners. So this one is serial number 357, but as I said before, it's a pretty standard tin, just that difference is going to be that extra serial number that they include on there. So let's take a look at the spinner itself. As you can see, it is a rather large spinner. I have large hands and this fills up my fingers almost completely. Weighs in at 104 grams or 3.7 ounces, and the outside diameter on it is just a hair under 2.5 inches. So this definitely has some heft. And looking at it, let's talk about the build quality on it. It is what I would still consider a modified tri-arm. It has this brass frame, which you can see has the cutouts that actually extend that weight to the edge of each arm, which increases that spin time as well. The other main focus of this spinner is going to be this stainless steel cog or gear ring, and this is where it gets a little bit interesting. This is not screwed in, glued in, or even welded into place. This ring is actually shrunk into place. So they put the ring in liquid nitrogen, which causes it to shrink, and then they actually fit it into the frame, and as it expands, it holds itself in place. Which is a cool feature on this that you're not going to see on any other spinner. This ring, it's a really nice fit. You're not going to see any gaps or any spacing in between it and the frame, and it's not going to come out unless you break this spinner. That ring is in there permanently unless you have your own supply of liquid nitrogen. So with this spinner, it is not very thick for its size, which is a bonus, and it is the smoothest spinner that I own. This thing has amazing spins. You really don't get any feedback. You can see here with even just a small push, it gets an incredible spin. So with this, I average about 5 to 6 minute table spins, and you can see that in my spinner collection spinner video. Let's talk about the buttons on this. These are not concave. They actually have this raised edge, and that really makes for a great grip. I don't have a complaint comparing it to the concave. You can also see that they've got their Flyaway Toys logo engraved on it, and that logo is really also kind of a Maelstrom itself. It's got that storm look when you spin it, and that's on the front and the back. So these are threaded. Let's take a look at the bearing. It is an R188 bearing. One drawback to it that I'm going to bring up is that this is held in place with Loctite. So it makes it for difficult removal and replacement if you ever need to swap out the bearing. But in my experience so far, in the month or two that I've had it, I haven't had to touch the bearing, I haven't had to clean it, and I've still got an amazingly smooth spin. So no issues there so far. But that is something to bring up, as a lot of bearings now have that standard threaded bearing lock. So the real question, because this is a fidget spinner, is how does it feel in hand? Well, this spinner feels great in hand. It's large, but they also offer a mini version if you do have smaller hands, and that comes in at the same price at $119. So this thing gets great spins one-handed. It's still a tri-arm spinner at heart, and you can flick it, pull it, push it, pretty much any way you want to do it. You can see on it, it's hard to pick up on camera, but there are 2 different shades of brass on the frame itself. And that's where this gets its name. They actually machined it this way on purpose to get that 2 different shades, because it has a spiral or storm effect to it. Maelstrom, if you look it up, its definition is a storm, and that you're going to see on the front and the back of that swirl effect. Here you can see that ring from the side, which also gives it a different look. And the cog teeth on the inner ring actually appear to spin in the reverse of the rest of the spinner, which also gives it another look. This thing, really one of the great parts about it is just that I consider it eye candy. There's so many different things to look at when you're spinning it, and you're never going to get bored with it. All the edges on this are very nicely rounded. The only spot that's not are going to be those teeth on the inside of the steel ring, but you're never really going to touch that when you're fidgeting with it anyways. So overall, I'm super pleased with the Maelstrom. It met all my criteria for being a great spinner. It is expensive, but there are plenty of spinners that cost more that I don't think provide as much entertainment as the Maelstrom does. This thing has a smooth spin, feels good in hand, amazing build quality, and if you have this thing on your desk or pull it out of your pocket, it's a head turner. People are going to ask about it. It's going to be a conversation piece. People are probably going to want to pick it up, which at how much you paid for it, you're probably not going to want to let them. But this spinner stands apart as almost one of a kind. It's the only one I've seen that's similar to this. I recommend it, probably not as a first spinner, but if you're a collector and you've got a bunch of different spinners, there's no reason not to have this in your collection. So I'll put a link in the description below to where you can purchase it on Flyaway Toys website. And as always, if you like the video, give me a like. If you've got any questions, put them in the comments down below. And if you want to see more spinner videos, or you're just interested in the hobby, subscribe. Have a good one.